Resistance is the highlight of patch 1.8. At least it is if you care about PvE content in the Division in the first place. If you do, then this will be the thing that you've been waiting for all this time, and the thing that is probably going to keep you busy for at least a few weeks. Now, I played a whole bunch of Resistance on the PTS, and even though this may seem like a simple game mode at first, there are still quite some things that you can do to give yourself a better chance at getting to the higher waves, and yes, that is what I'm going to talk about with this video. This is going to be a Resistance guide, so to speak. So, let's get into it. First up, let's talk about the game mode itself, as if you've never played it, because I'm sure that not everybody had access to the PTS, so I'm sure that not everybody watching this video has played the game mode. At its base, it is very much like the Call of Duty Zombies mode, if you've ever played that. You kill a few enemies that spawn in waves. Those enemies, they give you points or money, which in this case is called SHD tech that you have to collect, and you can then spend that SHD tech to open doorways that lead to new parts of the map. I'd say that the maps are pretty big. If you were to compare it to Call of Duty, I'd say that the maps are actually bigger, but they don't really feel bigger because you're always opening big chunks of the map at once every time that you buy a new doorway to some new place. With Call of Duty, you only get one new room or one new hallway, but with the Division, you can get this whole entire complex or half a ship pretty much. So while the maps themselves are bigger, it's not going to feel like there's as much of a progression system as in Call of Duty Zombies. Each of these different areas that you can unlock offer a variety of tools to the players. The most straightforward ones would be the ammo box, the medkit box, the special ammo box, the grenade box, basically anything that you can use and consume to help yourself out, give yourself more damage or whatever. You'll be able to refill those, but of course not for free. You're going to have to spend that SHD tech on them. And then aside from all those boxes, the areas on the map can also have any of the 3 fortifications, 2 of which we of course already know from Last Stand. We have the Pulse fortification, the Turret fortification, and then also the Support Station fortification, which is the new one. All of these fortifications are also upgradable after you purchase them, which will make them stronger or give more bonuses to the player, all that sort of stuff. The turret will gain more damage with each upgrade and also more range and health, and if you upgrade it far enough, it will also be able to set NPCs on fire and even shock them. The pulse will give you more range and give you more critical hit chance and critical hit damage. And then the station, if you're upgrading that, it will increase the support station's healing rate, the range, and the health that it has. And it also comes with a buff that gives players a chance to get their ammo back when they reload their weapon, very similar to the ammo box for the support station skill. If you upgrade it even further, it will also gain immunity to status effects. This immunity will not work on the players, like with the immunizer for example, because you can see it right here. I'm throwing a shock grenade under myself and I still get shocked and it still lasts for the full duration. But what this will instead do is protect the support station from status effects, which is very helpful in those rounds where you have those EMP waves coming at you every few seconds. I do not actually know what the level limit is that these fortifications can reach. I've been in multiple games with a level 15 turret that just melted NPCs down, and I've also had a station so strong that, well, the NPCs, they had a really hard time in killing me. I believe that the support station fortification healing rate is actually also percentage based of your own health, so that means if you have more toughness, you're also going to receive more heals from it, which is a little bit insane in my opinion, because that means that you can spec all stamina and still have a lot of sustain. And that begs the question, is it actually worth to invest very heavily into all of these fortifications? Is it worth to spend all your money into one fortification, or would it be better to get multiple fortifications all around the map? But to answer that question, we first have to ask another one. Are you playing solo, by yourself, or are you playing in a group? We'll get to that a little bit later into the video. No matter what the situation is though, being able to buy ammo, medkits, consumables, fortifications, or new areas to the map is in general always going to be helpful. So the one thing that everybody is going to want to do is of course get as much SHD tech as possible. And there are a couple of ways to do that. First up, let's talk about the boss waves. If you don't know what a boss wave is, it pretty much is exactly what it sounds like. Every 5th round, so round number 5, round number 10, round number 15, all of these waves will be boss waves, where one or multiple named enemies will spawn in that you're going to be forced to kill within a certain amount of time. Usually it's 4 minutes, you have 4 minutes to take those bosses down. And when you get to the later stages, round 30 or round 35, yes, this can become a real big challenge, because those bosses are going to be really difficult to take down. But let's be honest, when you're at round 5 or round 10, this boss wave is usually still a walk in the park. The thing with these boss waves though is that as long as the boss is not killed, the other enemies will spawn infinitely. So when round 5 starts, the boss spawns in. What are you gonna do? You're gonna kill the boss and get it over with? No, of course you're not gonna do that. That would be stupid. What you're actually going to do is you're going to shoot the boss to low health and then start farming the infinitely spawning NPCs, collecting the SHD tech that they drop, and giving yourself a huge head start over if you were to kill the boss the normal way. And then of course you repeat the exact same thing at wave 10. You don't kill the boss or bosses instantly, no, you go for all the NPCs until you have about 20 seconds left and only then you're gonna go for the boss. You can use the same trick for the data breach rounds, by the way. In these rounds you also have a timer to stop a data breach from happening, which is usually 3 minutes long. So you have to get to a laptop, stand there for a while until the progression bar is complete, and then that's it, you complete the round. So what are you gonna do? Of course you're not gonna complete the objective as fast as possible. No, that would skip the entire round. The smart thing to do would be to go to the laptop and then stay there until it is almost completed. But then at the very last second you walk away from the laptop and you start farming the infinitely spawning NPCs that will give you all the SHD tech that you can desire. And then again, once you have about 20 seconds left, you go back to the laptop and then you complete the objective as always. Even when you're playing solo, utilizing this strategy, you're still able to rack up over 15 or 20,000 SHD tech points before getting to wave 10, and that's compared to the 8 or so thousand that you would otherwise get had you played the game in a normal way. And that's definitely going to help out if you get to those later stages where you maybe have to buy more ammo, buy more consumables, buy more fortifications to distract the enemy, so to speak, or to help you out. Having more money in those later rounds, it could be the difference between wiping and surviving. But outside of farming SHD tech, there's also some other strategy to this game mode, and as you might have expected, it vastly differs depending on when you're playing solo or whether you're playing with a squad. And I'm gonna go over them both, but I'm gonna start off with the solo playstyle. The thing that is probably most important when playing solo is your ammo management. Although ammo isn't very expensive, only 250 on the first refill and then 500 SHD tech on every refill after that, there's still better ways to spend that cash, and every little bit helps. So here are a few things that I did when I played solo to save more ammo, with the first one being playing the first couple of rounds with your sidearm, because your sidearm has infinite ammo and the mobs are very easy to take down anyway, so why not use the pistol? Seems very straightforward, but a lot of people might still forget about it. Then you also want to make sure that you have 2 different weapon archetypes equipped. So for example, you should be using an SMG and an LMG as opposed to just using 2 LMGs, even if that means you're losing out on certain damage buffs or certain gear set bonuses or whatever. Even if the talents on your weapon are not unlocked, all of that is okay, because playing with the other weapon archetypes is just gonna save you ammo on your main weapon. I even went as far as to carry 1 of each weapon archetype in my backpack and simply switch those out for my primary or my secondary weapon when I ran out of ammo with either of them. This allowed me to not spend a single penny on ammo until I got to about round 12 or 13 or somewhere in that ballpark, depending on how well I did, how many enemies I killed and all that stuff, which then allowed me to use all the money on something else, such as spending it all on a single fortification right here, which is exactly not what you want to be doing when you're playing solo. Yeah, this right here, what I'm doing right now, that's a big mistake. Why is that? Well, that is because while these fortifications can be very helpful and they can become very strong, they also break down and get destroyed by NPCs quite fast, even if they have a lot of health. And you really have to babysit them, defend them, repair them if you want them to make it through multiple rounds. The thing is though, is that sooner or later, when you're playing solo, you're going to have to move away from that fortification, buy ammo, buy medkits, do something else, even go to one of those laptop rounds, in which case there's a very big chance that the turret will get destroyed. Sure, you can buy it again, but all those upgrades that you poured into it, worthy of 10,000s of SHD tech, well, all those upgrades are going to be gone now. When a turret gets destroyed or when any fortification gets destroyed, you're going to have to buy it and start upgrading it again, starting from level 1. So yeah, as a solo player, yeah, you can buy a turret, you can buy a pulse to help you out, but really committing all your money into one fortification is definitely not the way to go, because at some point, it's just going to get destroyed. Unlike when you're playing solo though, it can actually be very helpful to pick a spot on the map next to a fortification and camp that out, upgrading that one fortification alone, but it's only beneficial to you if you're playing in a group. As I said, these fortifications, they can actually get really powerful once you pour all your money into them, and if you're playing with a group, then you can always have some people around to babysit it, defend it, and make sure that it doesn't die. Even if you have to get ammo or medkits, you can actually have one person get ammo for the whole group. There's an alternative option to buy ammo for yourself and also for the whole group. So what you could do is just have one guy run over to an ammo box while everybody else defends the turret or the support station. Just make sure that that one guy going for the ammo doesn't die, because else the round is going to get a lot more difficult. If we're talking about builds, I would really recommend a solo player going for something like the 6-piece Nomad or a hybrid build with quite some electronics, something that gives you a lot of sustain. You could even go a skill build with a Seeker Mine or a Sticky Bomb or a Flame Turret or something like that, as long as you also have a skill to heal yourself back up, because yeah, especially during the contaminated rounds where you're constantly losing your HP, you're going to need some sort of self-sustain. If you don't have that, you're just gonna die. For groups, again, it's a little bit of a different story and you have a lot more freedom. Because yes, while you could technically play this game mode with any build that you want, and while part of the fun with this game mode is messing around with new builds as well, if you want to get far, I'm just gonna say it, you're kinda required to get a Reclaimer healer in the mix above anything else. Reclaimer is of course good, not just for the healing, but also for the infinite ammo that the support station provides, so you could save a lot of cash by not having to buy ammo every other round. Plus, it also gives you the immunity over a very big radius, which is useful because in the later rounds some NPCs will walk around with fire bullets or even shock bullets. If you don't have immunity there, well, you're just gonna die. Oh, and by the way guys, I also did already create a Reclaimer build video for PvE, so if you want to know how to build that best, then you can also go to the description box down below, there will be a link there. But yeah, continuing on. It's also very useful for solo players and for group players to always have a sniper in the backpack or as a secondary weapon, and the reasoning for this is very, very simple. Starting from wave 15 and from that point on, you will have to fight legendary NPCs and hunters and all those enemies. Not every enemy is going to be a hunter or a legendary NPC, but there are going to be quite a few. And these guys, they hit hard. If you get too close to them, they can one-hit kill you with a melee attack. And if you stay at mid to long range, you will never be able to demonstrate with them efficiently because they hit so hard. So the only real way to beat these guys is from a distance, where you're mostly safe. And from a distance, a sniper is simply going to work the best. So make sure you have a sniper. If you're playing this game mode for the loot, to get those exotics or classified items, I don't know what you're looking for. The game mode is okay, I guess. It's not the best when it comes down to rewards, but it's doable. Every boss that you will kill will drop 2 items guaranteed, and these items could be exotics and classified gear as well. I'm not sure exactly what the chances are of you getting a classified or exotic item, but it does seem to be higher than 3% as with the open world bosses. However, if you really want to go for the loot, then you have to go for the loot crates that can be found on every map. These loot crates are special crates that are positioned somewhere hidden that have to be opened by spending SHD tech. So instead of opening up more doors, buying more ammo, or upgrading a turret, you would instead spend your SHD tech on these boxes. And although they're quite expensive to get, usually they're about 6,000 to open or something, they do also have a really high chance of dropping an exotic or a classified item. And the good thing about them is that they drop on the floor when you open them, which means that if your teammates get the item that you're looking for, they can pick it up and then share it with you. So one box is basically 4 chances of you getting the item that you want. If you use the farming tactics on the earlier boss and laptop rounds that I just told you at the beginning of the video, then you can get to these loot boxes very, very early in the game. Now, before I let you go off completely, there is one more thing that I quickly want to mention, and that is that you kind of have to be careful with the turret fortification in the boss rounds. When a turret fortification gets the finishing blow on an NPC, it will actually not count as a kill for the player. And if the turret gets the last hit on a boss, the game will not recognize that the boss has been killed. And thus, the 4-minute timer will continue to deplete until it hits 0 seconds, at which point you're gonna wipe, even though the boss is already dead. This is a pretty nasty bug that I ran into on the PTS, which I of course reported, but I only found out about it halfway through PTS 3, and I have not received a reply on the post with the bug in it as of now, so I don't know if this is still in or not. My tip to you is try to always last hit the bosses and just be safe. There's no need to risk it. But yeah, that is pretty much everything that I have to share with you when it comes down to resistance. At least, as of now. Maybe in a few weeks from now I found some more stuff to help you out, and maybe I'll update the tutorial then as well. But who knows, we'll get there when we'll get there. As always, I will see you guys later, or like they say in the Netherlands, zie je later.